Hello YouTube and welcome to my complete beginner's guide to Python if you're looking to get into programming, creating games or websites, and you want to start learning a programming language. The by far best language to learn as someone new is Python. And so this tutorial here is geared towards those complete beginners. So I'm going to be taking my time. I'm going to be explaining things. So hopefully that's not too slow for those of you that wants to learn, wants to watch this video, but you're a little bit more ahead of those. Just got to keep in mind with me, guys, that this video is really intended for those beginners. So I will be going nice and slow. So for this, I'm going to be using PyCharm, and it's completely free. Just go to Google, search for PyCharm, go to the download, and make sure that you pick the free version because there is two. There's a personal and there's a community free. Go ahead and download the community free, install it, and then you're good to go. All right. All right. So once you've installed PyCharm and everything is good to go, you can go ahead and create your first project. And I'm going to go ahead and create my first project. Well, not my first, but I have a couple other projects. And I just went ahead and hit file and create new project for this tutorial. For you don't have a new project yet, so the window to create a new project should be the first window that you see. So I'll go ahead and create my new project. I'll say new window, and you should have the same as me right here, where it says creating virtual environment, yada 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 yada. Just want to make sure that you wait for all this process to be complete. I believe you might have a little tip, something with a tip window that pops up with some daily tips. You can go ahead and close that out as well. And once mine is fully loaded, now we will proceed. Okay, so it looks like mine is fully loaded. And you can see the folder here that I've created, which is created when I created my project, and I named mine Rock, Paper, Scissors. And we're just gonna go ahead and now right click on this right here on my folder and just go new, and then I'll just choose a new Python file. I will just give it a name. I'll just call mine Boo and hit enter, and I'm ready now to start coding. Now if you've done any kind of coding before, I like to just start off with a simple print statement. You normally see that there is a hello world or something like that they just want to have you print. And when you just type print, you can see that the IntelliSense, the little autocomplete, the pop-up that shows up, kind of give you a hint of what is to happen next. So parentheses, and then what you want to say. So it needs to be in a text format, a string. Anything that's a text or a string, you need to put those between quotes. Could be double quotes or single quotes. It doesn't matter. And then I'll write the word hello world. And that's it. I'll go ahead and go up to the run. Hit run. I'll tell it to run the boot script. And then it runs. And you want to keep this here, keep it docked right here. Just hit the little needle pin, boom. So it doesn't go away. And so anytime you need to run again, just hit the green arrow right here. All right, so congratulations, you've just created your first Python program. But now let's turn this thing around and create a rock, paper, scissors application. So now we're gonna be going a little bit faster. For those of you that was like, okay, I already know this. Can we get on with it, please? We're gonna be going a little bit faster now. Let's look at player inputs, right? So you can print hello world, you can print your name. But how about we have it ask you what your name is and then print that. So you would say, you would create a variable. And create variables are really easy. Just type the name of the variable that you want, like name. I'm gonna call it F name, first name, equal, and then you can just put like Bob. And so if you print F name, you're printing Bob. And let's go ahead and run it, and it says Bob. Right? But instead of a hard-coded Bob, we're going to ask it for its input. We're going to ask you for your input. And this is how the rock, paper, scissors game is going to actually come together. Because we need to be able to capture the player's input. And as you can imagine, it's input and then the prompt. which is what are you going to ask them? So the prompt. So you see parentheses and then prompt, right? So it's up to parentheses, and then in string, again, with using the quotations, double or single, you then ask them the message, like, please enter your name. So if I run this, it shows up, please enter your name. And if I enter Sam, it prints Sam. Run it again, enter your name. I'll enter Wade, it prints Wade. See how that works? So what we want to do with this that we've learned now is have the player enter rock, paper, or scissors, right? So I'm going to take this away and actually create a new variable here, and I will name this one player choice. Player choice equal, and I'll put input and then the prompt. And so my prompt, I'm going to actually use a single colon. My prompt is going to be something like, please press R, which will mean rock, right? R rock, P. All right, let's do this. Please press R for rock, yeah, comma, P for paper. Let's do capital paper, and then just say or S for scissors. That looks good. Please press R for rock, P for paper, or S for scissors. That looks pretty good. And then here we can just do a print and say, well, let's say you have selected 1L. You have selected, and then a space, and then I could just put plus the player's choice, right? See how that works? So I'm adding a string, boom, 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 with the quotes, single quote, single quotes. The quote end here, but I leave a space because when I add the variable to my string, it doesn't add the space for you, so I leave a space. So it should say you have selected, and then whatever my choice was when I entered R or whatever. So looks like one error here. Now this needs to be fully your print start to end. Everything that you're printing should be within the parentheses. Okay, can't talk today. So we press play. It says please enter R for rock, P for paper, blah, blah, blah. I will press I'll press P, and it says you have entered P. And actually, what I'll do here is add a space after this. Or actually, I'll do a /n, which just puts it right below it. So, and then you enter it here. So then I'll put R. It says you've entered R. Okay, so if all of that makes sense so far, great. Now let's move on to the next part of this, where we're going to create the computer's choice. We want the computer to be able to choose. We're going to be playing against the computer, so we want the computer. It's basically a basic AI, and we want the computer to be able to choose as well. And then we'll compare our choice with the computer's random choice to see who the winner is. Okay. So to have random functionality, we need to import a package. And that's how it works. Like, you have a script here, but the script doesn't have a lot of functionality. Sometimes you got to import more functionality into your script. And so at the top, you normally do it from the top here. Just say from, and then package module that I want is a random. So from the random, I'm going to import something called randant. What randant does, it allows you to, it picks a random number from a range. So from like 1 to 3 in this case, because we have only rock, paper, and scissors, which is 3 choice. We'll have the computer choose from 1 to 3, and if it picks 1, then it's rock. 2 is paper, and then 3 would just be scissors. So with that in there, I'm gonna hop down another line down here, and this will be the computer's choice, and I will call it CPU choice equal, and then we type that word we just imported, random, and with parentheses we give it the range. So from 1 to 3. Okay, this is the range that we're giving it. It's gonna pick a random number here from 1 to 3. Could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, and store it here. So then, just for testing purposes, let me print the CPU choice to see if I'm getting a random number out of it. So I'll go down here and hit run again. I'll just put R for rock, and then it prints 3. Okay, now run again. I'll put R for rock, and it prints 2 this time. So it is indeed working. Okay, so I don't want this here. I just want to use it to test. So now we're going to convert the random number into the computer's selection using something called a if. So we'll check if the computer choice is 1, then the computer selected R. Since we're using R and we're not using the full word, we want to have the computer also use like a single letter as well. So we can easily compare them both and say, well, if your choice and the computer choice is the same, it's a draw. If your choice is R and the computer choice is what? S, so rock versus scissors, then you would say, well, rock wins. So using the if statement, you type if, and then what? CPU is the random choice right now. CPU is where that random choice is stored. So if that equals 1, and the reason we do double equal sign, guys, is because 1 equal sign means is. You're comparing 2 types of data. If this is this, 2 types you're comparing. But here we're comparing values. So double equal sign means equal, while 1 equal sign means is. Okay, and you can see here in a second. So if this choice equals 1, what I'll do is I'll create another, let me just make some space here because I like space. We'll make another variable here, and we can call it comp letter. Call it comp letter. It's a new variable. We'll say equal, so is R. Okay. So if the computer choice, you chose 1, then the comp letter is R. So later on, I'll be comparing the comp letter. Sorry about that. Gotta go back. Yeah. We'll be comparing the comp letter with my player choice, because this is my letter. This is my R, my P, or my S, depending on what I type. We'll compare with this, and if they're the same, it's a draw. If mine is R and his is P, I won, so and so. So this is perfect. What we could do now is just copy this, paste it, but remember the alignment of the script is very important. So we got to go all the way indented this way, and then everything that's indented is a part of this. So the if statement, everything that's indented is a part of it, right? So what we do here is the same thing. So this time if it's 2, then it's what, P for paper. And now go down to the next line, indent it again, and this time if it's 3, it will be rocks, paper, scissors. It will be scissors this time. So now I've accurately given the computer a choice. So I said you have selected blah blah blah, This time, I'll copy this. I'll go down here, and I'm not going to indent it. I'm just going to bring it out over here and say, I've selected, okay, we'll say the computer has selected, and then we will print the comp letter. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Play. I'm going to select R for rock. It says I have selected R. Computer has selected R. Awesome. So that would have been a draw. Play one more time. I'm going to go with P for paper. I selected P. The computer selected P. Another draw. All right. I'm going to test it again just to make sure it's working. I'm going to go back to R. All right. So I've selected R. The computer selected P. At this point, I would have won, but looks like the computer was very competitive the first 2 rounds. Almost had me believing that it wasn't working properly. But just to recap what we got so far, generate a random number, putting it here, using the random number in the if conditions to then give the computer a choice. So a random number, if it's 1, then we give the computer R. If it's 3, we give the computer S. And then we print it. So now we have a full functioning here. Computer selected this, you select that. All right. Now the winning condition, guys. Now it's not very complicated to do a win condition. Because first thing we got to check is really simple, to be honest with you. If we can check if it's a draw, and then the other conditions, there's quite a few possibilities of gameplay here, so there's a lot of conditions to check for, but there's an easy way where you can just check for 3 conditions and you're done, right? So using the if again, the if statement's how we're going to do this. So we say if, now that we have everything in place, I'm sorry, we don't need parentheses, I'm so used to different coding language. So if now my player choice, so my letter, is equal to, and again, double equal sign, because I'm comparing the values. I'm not assigning, 2 types of data. I'm not creating a data here. Here we're saying this variable equals this. This is now a letter. I want to compare what letter is already in here with the letter that's in there. So if that and that equals this, so if this equals this, if the value is the same, if we get the colon there, then tab down and you see it indents by itself. If the value is the same, then I can now safely print and say game, well, let's say draw game. That is the first condition that rules out all of the possible draws. We gotta think logically here. So we've ruled out all of the possible draw games. No ties on my watch, right? So all the games that could possibly draw, tie, however you like to refer to it, is captured and ruled out right here. We're good. Next, I'm gonna show you how we'll do this. We'll use a while loop, and I'll show you how this works. You type the word while, and as long as you want the while to just continue to loop over and over, you say true, capital T, I believe, true. Boom. And then everything has to be indented up to this point. So what we'll do is I'll indent this up to that point, right? So tab once, and then this has to be indented as well up to its point. There we go. So now all of this is inside the while. And I'll show you how that's going to work out. So now we'll do another if. So all we want to do now is say if the player, and we'll do double equal sign again, if the player selects are, and the word and, the computer letter is not, say that exclamation there just means not, is not what beats rock, paper, right? No, yeah, rock beats paper. So if this is this and that, then player wins. So if you choose rock and the computer doesn't choose paper, you win, obviously. If he doesn't choose paper, you win. So we don't have to compare rock with anything else. I'm show you how this works. So now if you choose, let's see, rock. Let's see, if you choose paper, they have to choose. No, I did the first one wrong. If you choose rock and they don't choose, what beats rock? Paper. No, you're right. Yeah, paper beats rock. If you choose paper, I'm so bad at rock, paper, scissors, as you can clearly tell. If you choose paper and they don't choose scissors, you win. And then finally, if you choose rock, paper, if you choose scissors and they don't choose rock, you win again. Otherwise, if it gets to this point in the script, and we're just gonna say computer wins. And then yeah, and then game over. Print, and then, oh my gosh, can't type today. Game over. So what's gonna happen here with this loop, right? It loops down. If this condition is met, it's gonna say draw game, and then immediately break out the loop. So nothing else happens. Same happens here. It's gonna check, boom, boom, boom. If this condition is met, it's gonna print you win, immediately break out a loop. So nothing else happens. Nothing else happens below. And of course, if this doesn't get met, it just skip to the next line. So the conditions have to be true for it to go, to continue. If it's false, it will just continue past. If it's true, it will continue with the code and then break out of the loop. Same thing I want to happen here. If this is true, break out of the loop. You win and you break out. If this is true, again, you win and you break out. But if you don't break out, you don't break out, you don't break out, that means it was never a draw. That means you didn't win here, you didn't win here, you didn't win here. So the computer obviously had won. And then at that point, I guess we can break out. That makes sense, okay? So again, the way the while loop works, it's just gonna go, 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 go. We use a while loop because we want the ability to just break out of this code. As soon as we know we won, we hop right out of the code so that this doesn't fire off and this doesn't fire off, okay? So obviously I pick, let's say I pick paper. Boom, I just pick P, I pick paper. I'm gonna check now if the computer choice is S. If it is, I won, but if it's not, the code will continue. It's gonna check if I pick S, which I didn't because I picked P. So it's gonna continue, and the computer is gonna win. Because again, we're just checking to see if I win, which is easier to check if I win versus checking if the computer win, okay? If I win, it's too many checks. We just check for one player, because if I win, I won. If I didn't win, I lost. Obviously, there's no point in me checking if I win and then checking if the computer wins. You see, that's where the logic of programming comes in. You have to think about it. I saw a little rock paper scissors guide online, and I was looking at it here, and I was like, wow, look at this. It's what they're teaching the kids too. The draw game was good. That was great. They're checking if the player presses R and the computer presses S. If the player presses R and the computer presses P. If the player presses R and the computer presses S, you're checking against every letter. That's ridiculous. So here, we'll run this. I'm gonna press rock, paper, scissors. I'll press R. It says here I chose R, the computer chose S. I won. Rocks beats scissors. Correct. Player wins. I'll play again. I'll go with R again because I'm a rock guy. Press rock. Computer went paper. Computer wins. Game over. See? So all conditions are met with only these 3 checks. And I guess you can call it 4 because we needed the draw. Okay, so real simple rock paper scissors game, complete, working just fine. And at this point in the video, you can say yes, I got it, and be out. Leave a comment and a like, and be like, thanks, dude, got it, awesome, great job. Thank you for the tutorial. Deuces, and leave. You can, but if it hasn't really synced in yet, I'm about to go through the code one more time. Okay, so this is optional. If it hasn't synced in yet, I'm about to go through the code. Otherwise, if you got it, guys, see you later, and thanks for watching. All right, for those of you that's still here, you didn't quite get it, and I went a little fast, and I'm sorry about that. Let's slow it down. Right, line 1, we're just importing from a random package a functionality that's called randant. There's also one that's called choice. What the choice does is you give it a list. That's just that's a type of data, a data type, a list, an array. Okay, you'll get into that later, and it chose a random item from that. Randant, you give it a number range. So this is how you give it. Within the parentheses, you give it a number range, and it picks a random number from that number range. So we give it a 1 to 3 because we only need 1 to 3. Rock, paper, and scissors shows 3 items. We store the random number in here. So let's say the random number is like 2. At this point, CPU choice equals that random number, which is 2. So we check if the random number is 1. And if it is 1, we're going to give the computer a letter R. If it's 2, we give it the letter P. And if it's 3, we give it the letter S. Represent the rock, paper, scissors. Done deal. And then, of course, we just print what the computer chose, just like we print what we chose. That way we can see it here, these 2 lines that I have highlighted. That way we can see what we're up against and how we lost, okay? So we pick R. It says you've selected R for rock, and we've picked P. It says, we've selected P. The computer selected P for paper. So that's what this line here, line 17, is printing this. Done deal. All right. Now we're using a while loop to make the the conditions to win a little bit easier to calculate. While loop is just easier. That way, we're able to use breaks. That was the entire reason we use the while loop was just so that we can use the breaks, right? To make the calculation of who won a lot easier, cleaner. So we don't have to check against, you pick R and he picks P. You pick R, he picks R. You pick R and he picks S. You don't have to check against everything. So we just check if we win and hop out of the entire code. And we're done, okay? So the while loop allows us to do that. We put everything in the while loop. If we didn't use breaks, what would happen is that the loop would loop around and around and around and around and around. It will keep going forever because true is just true. We could always put like a certain condition here, like if you score a certain amount of points, so as long as your points is less than 5, then we'll just, keep repeating, and we can have a game with scoring and all that. But that's for another day. For right now, we just have it true, so it always loops. And technically, we're not going to have it loop more than just one because we're breaking out anyways. But what happens here is we then just check if the player letter and the computer letter is the same. Then it's a draw. We hop out of the game. We're done. Game over. Draw. Done. So then we just check if you pick the letter R and the computer does not pick. So this means not equal to. If that makes sense. The exclamation just means not. So if you pick R and the computer doesn't pick the letter that will make him win, if the computer does not pick the one letter that will make him win, if you chose rock, computer has to choose paper. They have to choose P. So if they did not pick P, you win. Break out. Same deal here. If we choose paper, they need to have scissors to cut the paper to win. So if they did not choose scissors, you win. So again, we're just checking if we won. So much easier to check if we won versus just checking if they won and we won and they won and we no. So we break out of the code if we win. Same thing here. We check if we win, we break out of code, and we'll never see this because the computer reads the code from the top to the bottom. So it's going to check against one of these conditions, obviously. Okay, because we're going to choose rock, paper, or scissors. So if we choose rock, boom, we stop here, it reads it. If the computer chose, let's say we chose rock, the computer chose scissors. This is incorrect. This part is correct, but the and is incorrect. No, I'm sorry. I mixed up. The and is correct because they did not chose P. Okay, so the computer check here says we chose rock and they chose scissors. And this line is correct. They did not choose P. We chose rock and the computer did not choose P. Therefore, we won. Breaks out of code. So we see you win and nothing else. Let's say it runs this time when we chose rock and the computer did choose P. That means this line is incorrect because we're checking if they did not choose P when we chose rock. So it's incorrect, which means it checks it. It doesn't run the code below it because it's incorrect. It moves on to the next condition. It checks this. Well, this is also incorrect because we chose rock. Check this. It's incorrect because we chose rock. And so it had to run this and say we lost and then break out. Because it never had none of these were correct enough for it to break out of the code. So it went all the way to the bottom and then broke out. So we automatically lose if we don't win, which makes perfect sense. If you don't win, then obviously you should have lost. If it's not a draw and we didn't win, then we lost. That's the logic behind it. Sorry for keeping up your time. If you didn't get it before, I'm sure you have it now. And thanks a lot for joining me in this quick Python tutorial. It's been a while since I make videos, but you guys gotta understand, I'm living in the woods now. I bought a house in the country. I'm a farmer now, and the internet situation over here really sucks. So I am on basically a mobile hotspot like forever until something moves out here, and I'm not going on satellite internet because I do a lot of games. And so far, my hotspot is been able to sustain me so far. So it's just the latency kind of suck. But pray for me, guys. Definitely pray for me. And I don't know what you guys want. So I need you to tell me. If you want some more Python, tell me. If you want some Scratch, if you want some HTML, tell me what you want. I will make it. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment in the description below. All right? You guys stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.